Man, hey guys, what is up? It is prime time, it is grind time, and I needed to take a break and take this time to speak to you guys because I've got something important to talk to you about tonight. And what I mean by that is I had made a tweet earlier on my Twitter feed, and I basically got it from one of the coaches that I follow. And so you're going to get your prime time, grind time, and this is going to be some real stuff. It is going to be hopefully challenging and maybe convicting as well, because I know it was for me as I did some self-evaluation of myself and just moving forward in my life and my business. And so I want to share these things with you. I made the tweet earlier that said commitment means staying loyal to what you said you were going to do long after the emotions and the feelings have subsided. Right? I got to read that to you again. Okay, let me break this down for you real quick, but I'm going to read it to you again. Commitment means staying loyal to what you said you were going to do long after the emotions and the feelings have subsided. So what does that mean? How do we break that down? Well, first of all, I think we've all been to something, right? We've been to an event, we've been to a conference, maybe it was a concert, whatever the case is, where we get pumped up, we get fired up, right? And we make a bunch of commitments and things are going to change once we get back home. But what happens? We find ourselves 1 week, 3 months, or a year right back in the place where we strived to not be and to make a change and move forward, right? We've all been there. As I've talked to people this last week, I think we can all relate to all these certain things, right? We've all we've all been to a time where we maybe it's on a diet, right? And we've said, all right, I'm not going to eat those foods and I'm not going to drink those things. And how long does that last, right? We say that thing, we get all fired up, we see our friends change, and then we start doing it, and then we're like, some of us 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, 30 days, 45 days in, and then we're like, I'm out. This isn't for me, right? We say something based off of our feelings and emotions, and we make a commitment, but then once that passion has subsided and has gone, a lot of us lose kind of that drive and that commitment that we once made back prior to a week ago, a month ago, maybe a year ago, right? So diet is one thing that came to mind. How about, and I mentioned this, but eating some certain foods, like there's times where I tell Vanessa, I'm like, I'm done eating sweets. No longer am I doing the sugar thing. I'm getting rid of my breads. I'm getting rid of all these things. And then a week later, I find myself eating a cheeseburger and having a dessert, right? We get all fired up because we want to make this change, and then we realize, man, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. How about this? How about working out and exercising, right? I think we all can relate to that. I know I can. I hired a trainer at one point. I was working out consistently, getting to the gym 3-4 times a week, and then what happens? Life gets busy, right? Wife needs you at home with the kids. You don't want to get up so early in the morning anymore, and you lose that type of commitment to your trainer. You no longer start paying that trainer anymore, and then you lose the passion and desire to actually get to the gym and work out, right? So we've all been there. What about in our jobs, right? It seems like at the first of the year, we make all these goals and we make these commitments and we get all fired up. And then halfway through the year, if we're like way behind on that goal, we're like, oh, well, forget it. I'm not going to hit that goal. And we kind of lose passion, right? So what's my point in all this? And how do we get past those times where we lose passion and we lose the discipline or whatever it is? Well, I'm going to give you 4 things, all right? So here's your prime time, your grind time tonight. You're going to get 4 things to help you push through these things. And I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of this comes from some scripture because I am a faith-based man and I believe in the Word of God and its truth. And one of the verses that kind of sticks out to me is when it talks about perseverance, right? Perseverance is talked about all through scripture. Well, there's a reason for perseverance. Even if you want to take scripture completely out of it and you want to go look at all the successful people in the world today, I think we can all agree that these people had perseverance at certain points in their life, right? And so what I want to give to you is 4 things that can challenge you here. And so my first thing is this. You got to get accountability on all levels in your life. So if you are the person that struggles with working out on a consistent basis, where do you think that accountability's got to start? Well, it's got to start with a trainer, or it's got to start with a friend that works out consistently, that is disciplined in that is going to pull you along and make sure that you get your butt out of bed and you get to the gym and you work out, or you go running, or you go biking, whatever the case is, right? So if you struggle with that, you've got to get disciplined and you've got to get accountable with somebody else to get you there. I want to share a story. I know a guy who's got 4 mentors / accountability partners in his life. I'm going to give you those 4 things because I think they're important to all aspects of our lives. So the first one was a trainer for working out. He's got an accountability partner. It's not necessarily a trainer that he pays, but it's a buddy of his that goes to the gym on a consistent basis, and he helps him stay disciplined in that. So what's he do? He gets up, and they set times on a weekly basis, and they say, hey, here's the days we're going to the gym. Let's go hit it. Let's go get it hard, and then let's go to work. And so they basically get up and they go to work out early in the morning every day, and he's built that accountability into his life. So he stays healthy from an exercising standpoint. All right, here's the next one. If you are married, he's got another person that holds him accountable in his marriage. So he's got a buddy that calls him up at least once a week and says, hey man, how's your marriage going? How can I pray for you? What can I do to help you better your marriage? Are you going out on dates with your wife still, even though you've got 2, 3, 4 kids at home, right? We've all been there. And so you build that structure and that commitment and that accountability into your life on that level. Another one is with your business and your finances. This guy has a dude that calls him up and says, how is your business going? How are you doing financially? Where are you spending your money? Where is your greatest ROI, your return on investment? He's asking him these types of questions on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis to find out how he can be wise and disciplined with the money that's coming in with his business and how it's going out. So if there's something that he spent $1,000 on marketing, for example, and at the end of the month or the end of the year, whatever date they've set there, and they look at it and they say, man, your ROI is crap, he tells him to get rid of that marketing campaign or whatever it is and look at doing something different. It's a way of having another person come alongside you and hold you accountable in that. And then the last one is the accountability partner for his spiritual walk. So he's got an accountability partner that's like, hey man, how's your walk with God? You know, and they talk about spiritual things, they talk about things that they're struggling with, and they talk about questions that they might have or something they might have read or whatever the case is. He's got those 4 accountability partners in his life for a reason, because he knows he needs that to help him move forward. So that's the first thing. If you want to know what the first thing is to overcoming kind of that loss of passion or that loss of discipline in your life, it's getting accountability partners in the areas that you are weak. I don't know what areas those are. I know what areas they are for me personally. And so I have to go get those people in my life to hold me accountable for those and to keep me on point, right? Otherwise, it's just going to continue to go down and we find ourselves a year later back where we were when we wanted to make the commitment for change, okay? That's the first thing, accountability. The second thing is one of the biggest and most difficult things that I think that I've encountered and that I think we've all encountered, and that's retraining the mind, right? We have to retrain the way we think and the way we do things. And that's one of the most difficult things to do, because I think we get so constrained and we get so set in a routine that a lot of times it's difficult for us to get out of that routine, right? If it's a bad one. We want to start getting into the good routines, you know? So a lot of successful people will say, well, I've got my morning routine and that doesn't change. And this is what it looks like. I go boom, 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 boom. And that's how I start my day every single day. And that's how it works. And that's how it gets me going. I don't know what that routine is for you. I don't know how you want to retrain your mind. Some people, it's listening to music when they get up to get in the mood. Whatever it is, you have to figure out a way to retrain your mind to get you on the same level. I want to share a story with you about retraining my mind. And actually, I'll be completely honest, I didn't believe it for the longest time. And it dealt with my business, and it dealt with JD Erb, who was actually one of my partners and on the team I was with earlier before jumping on board and starting my own team here in real estate. But I can remember sitting down with him, literally, I'm like, I don't know, maybe a year into doing real estate. And I remember sitting down with him and him looking me straight in the eye and saying, Ryan, you're going to build a house 3 years from now. And I was like, inside and in my brain, I was like, yeah, right, there's no way. Because there were certain things prior to that that helped me and made me believe, I shouldn't say help, they brainwashed me into thinking that I wasn't capable of making a certain amount of money or doing enough things to get me to the point of being able to finally build a house in my life, right? I was doing ministry prior to that. If anybody knows anything about ministry, nothing to knock on it or anything like that, but most of the time when you're in that, you're set on a very limited income. And then I went into retail and working retail, and then I went into working for a university, making, I don't know, it was like 35 grand a year. Again, not to knock on any of that, but if I'm the only one making that, I'm probably not going to be building a house anytime soon. And so as he was telling me those things and he was encouraging me and saying, I know you're going to be great in real estate. You will build a house 3 years from now. I was like, okay, whatever. But as he continued to build that into my life and speak that into my life, I started to change up here, right? I started to think about, maybe he's right. Maybe I am capable of doing this. Maybe I can do that. And then I started thinking about, well, how do I get there? How do I get to the point where in 3 years from now, I can build a house, right? My mindset changed from the previous routine or the previous situation in life that I was in and helped me change to something better and bigger so that I had no clue what it was until I actually got there, right? And I can remember, this is just months ago, I can remember moving into our house that we just built. And I walked into the house and I sat down on the couch and I can remember just thinking about those words that were spoken to me that said, Ryan, in 3 years you will build a house. And I sat there and I kind of wept thinking, wow, I made this happen. It actually happened. And why did it actually happen? Because I trained my mind to believe and to think that I was capable of actually getting there. And again, I think this is one of the most difficult things to do, but once you get that concept and once you start believing and training your mind to doing things that you want to do and setting out goals that you want to accomplish, and you don't let other people, that's going to be my next segment going into this and number 3, but you don't let other people speak into that, but you hold tight onto what my goals and my dreams are, I promise you, things will start shifting and changing, but you have to retrain the mind and you have to stay disciplined with that. So you surround yourself, which is going to be 3. So my first thing is you get accountability partners. You get people around you that are going to hold you accountable in different areas of your life where you know you have weaknesses. 2, you retrain the mind. And then 3, moving into that, you surround yourself with like-minded people, right? You rid yourself of the negative Nancy's in your life. I've talked about this numerous times. I can't tell you how important it is and how it has changed my life. I was speaking to another high school friend of mine who's a successful entrepreneur right now, and we were talking about just the shift in our lives and the things and that changed for us once we started hanging out with people that had the same mindset and the same goals and the same things that they wanted to accomplish like us moving forward. And that's not just in our business, that's in our families, that's in our lives. One of our things was like, man, I want to travel more. How am I going to travel more? You start laying out, okay, if I want to travel more and I want to go to these places, this is how much it's going to cost. So this is how many deals I need to do to get there, and this is how much money I need to make to get there. You start laying out these things, and then you surround yourself with those people, and they continue to encourage you and push you and get you to that next step or that next phase and where you need to be. And then you start realizing, man, this truly is becoming a reality for me, right? Again, it takes a lot of hard work on your part, but it's a lot easier when you have those people and you hold tight onto those relationships, as opposed to you let your mom and dad or your brother and sister or your friend, your closest friends or colleagues or whoever start speaking in and be like, oh man, that's a great goal. Good luck with that, but I don't think you're going to reach it. If you start believing and surrounding yourself with those types of people and you don't get rid of them, trust me, you won't hit your goals, because you're going to start believing everything they say, and you're going to get in, 3 months, 3 weeks, whatever it is into this, and you're going to be like, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm not capable of doing this. I just, you lose passion, you get depressed, and you're like, well, that was fun while it lasted, but it didn't work, right? Isn't that how these goals and these things start to fade away as we get into that process, when we look back and say, man, why didn't I go hard after that? Why didn't I think that I was capable of doing that? You know, it's, again, the people you're around, the accountability, the mindset, right? And then the last thing, number 4, what I'm going to share with you, again, I think is just as important and difficult to do, but it's staying disciplined and humble. You got that? Staying disciplined and humble. The moment you get arrogant or sidetracked, you begin to fall off the tracks, right? I've seen it way too many times. And things start to get easy, and you start to get arrogant, and you forget about how you got there, the accountability, the training of the mind, the people that surrounded you, that encouraged you to get you there, and then you think, oh, I'm there. Nah, man, you're not. You're about to fall. And that's why pride comes before the fall, right? So if you stay humble, then you know that you still need those things and those people to surround you to keep you stable, right? To get there. It's like a flight, man. I thought about a flight, and you know, it's funny when you go on a flight and things get kind of bumpy and rough, and you experience some turbulence, and you know, people that don't like turbulence, they'll talk about that the entire time after the flight. Oh man, there was 20 minutes of turbulence and it was horrible. But they forget about the other 3 hours on that flight that were smooth, right? But they focus on the 20 minutes of the turbulence, and they lose sight of being grateful and thankful and humble that, hey, I actually had 3 hours of a smooth flight, right? That's where you want to be. You want to be at that point where you can look back and be like, man, I'm so great where I'm at. I've come a long ways, and now this is why I've been here. So sometimes it's me. I shared this in a I think a video not too long ago, but there's times where you just need to step back, take some time away, completely shut things off, and think about who helped me get here. Who helped me get to this point in my life, and how can I thank them? There's times where I will turn everything off. I'll take out my phone. I'll take out a piece of pen and a paper, and I'll write down, who's 5 people that I can thank today for getting me where I am today. And I literally will spend the next 15, 20 minutes texting those people and being like, hey man, I'm so thankful for your friendship. I'm so thankful for our relationship and where you've helped me come. Because I know that I didn't get to this place without your help, without your encouragement, without your inspiration, without you challenging me and pushing me to where I needed to be, right? We all have those people in our lives, but we get so busy sometimes that we forget about, how did we get here, right? How did we get to this point? Well, we got to this point when we've set up the accountability in our lives, when we've retrained the mind, when we surrounded ourselves with like-minded people, and when we stayed disciplined and humble, and that's where we get to this point, right? If you don't have those things, that's where you eventually find yourself, right? At that place of looking back and saying, man, 1 week ago, 3 months ago, a year ago, I remember making that commitment, and what happened? Why did I lose passion? Because I didn't set up these 4 things in place in every aspect of my life. I promise you this. If you do these 4 things, I want you to document, and I want you to share. I don't care if it's in a journal. I don't care if it's with somebody that you're close with, but I want you to document the next 30 days, and then the next 3 months, and the next 6 months, and then the next year of writing out what it is that you want to do moving forward. What's a goal of yours that you want to accomplish? Okay? I want you to write that out tonight. I want you to, whether that's in a journal, whether it's on a piece of paper, post it up somewhere, whatever. And then I want you to document the steps that you're taking to achieve that goal. Okay? So, number 1, if I'm going to achieve this goal, who needs to hold me accountable in whatever area that is? So if that's you and you're like, man, I need to lose 15 pounds, I need to go find an accountability partner that's going to hold me accountable to lose 15 pounds. Probably somebody that works out on a consistent basis, and probably someone who's going to call me out when I don't show up to the gym, and that's going to hold me accountable. Then, okay, you move on to retraining of the mind. How do I train my mind so that eventually when I wake up and when I go to the gym, I will get to a place or reach a place that if this guy's there or this girl's there or not, it doesn't matter. My mind is trained now that I'm going to get up at this certain time of day, or I'm going to go work out at this certain time of day, and I'm going to stay consistent at it. Okay, how do I retrain my mind to do that? What are the steps that I'm going to take to get there? Again, repetition, repetition. Keep telling yourself these things and you'll begin to believe it, and it'll begin to make sense, and it'll begin to take place. The third thing, and it kind of goes along with that, surround yourself with like-minded people. Find other people that are at the gym or that you know that are like, man, I could lose 15 pounds, I could lose 10 pounds, whatever, and start going with them, right? Carry them on with you and go with you. Again, I'm using the gym example just because I don't want to go all business on you, but whatever that goal is, then you start laying out how you're going to accomplish that goal and how you're going to be held accountable and retrain the mind and surround yourself with like-minded people around that goal. And then the last thing, you have to stay disciplined and you have to stay humble. So you can't get into 3 weeks in and then be like, I'm going to sleep in today. I'm just really tired. I can't get up and do it. Because the moment you do that, the moment that passion and that drive is going to start fading away. And then you're going to wake up 3 months later and be like, man, how'd I get here? Well, you got there because you didn't stay disciplined, you didn't stay consistent, right? So that's what you need to start doing. That is your prime time and your grind time. And I've actually got another one coming up later because I've got some really good insight and challenges that I want you guys to do and to challenge you guys with, and to hopefully propel you forward and whatever it is that your goals are. So again, comment below, inbox me, do whatever you need to do if you've got questions or you want to get to that next level in your life. But again, I do these things because I want to challenge, inspire, encourage you to do the same in your life. And I'm sharing these things of what has happened with me, especially in this past year and a half, where I went out and I knew that what started all of this, believe it or not, is a year and a half ago, I was at a place in my business where I was like, okay, I'm staying consistent and stagnant in this place. How do I take my business to the next level? And I went to a conference. I met Jared James there, and he happened to be a coach that's in real estate, and felt like I really connected with him, and basically signed up to start coaching. And so a year and a half ago, I started coaching, and I started paying for it. I knew that if I was going to make a change and I was going to grow my business, I had to invest in myself. And so it wasn't a conversation anymore with me as far as like, how much is that going to cost or what am I going to do? I knew that was the next step I had to take. And I knew I had to invest in myself or it wasn't going to work, right? So if I had to shell out some money to basically take it to the next level, I was going to do that. So that's what I did. And then after that, I basically went to a conference, a couple months ago, and this was actually Jared James conference. I got asked to speak at that. Long story short, after speaking, a couple weeks later, I applied to be a coach, and here I am now in a position to coach other students around the United States who are just getting started in real estate, that have been in real estate forever, that were just in my shoes like a year and a half ago, that are like, hey, I need to take my business to the next level. What do I do? And so I'm basically taking that year and a half, that 2 years that I had with my coach now, these past few years, and now implementing that and sharing that experience with other people. So that's what got me onto doing these things. Again, I'm not looking to get anything out of this. I'm giving this to you guys for free because I know everybody can relate to it. Doesn't matter if you're in real estate or if you're in business or whatever you're doing. We all have a life, and we can apply some of these things to our lives. So with that being said, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for watching. And if there are certain topics that you want me to discuss moving forward, comment below. I will make sure that happens. So with that being said, you guys have a good night, and hopefully this has challenged and inspired you a little bit. And if you liked it, share it with someone who you think might be challenged and inspired to do this and implement that in their lives. So again, guys, have a good one. Appreciate it.